Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. This video is going to be week 2 for my movie reviews for January 2022, and I've made the decision, just so I don't post too many videos all at once, that I'm going to basically now drop my review videos on a Tuesday, all being good, but it will still go Sunday to Saturday. That's just the way that the format is at the moment, but it'll change. It all just depends on how busy I am, but I'm going to aim for every Tuesday at the moment and just see how it goes. But I am thinking of doing other videos. I am going to do a full collection video. I probably wait and do that at the start of next month, because I've had a lot over the last couple of weeks that I've not actually shown, that I want to show on video first. Still expecting stuff coming, so I'll probably do that on the last day of the month, the 31st, and then hopefully the first week of February I'll do my complete. I might split it up. I might do 4Ks and then Blu-rays, because there is obviously a significant amount more than there was last year, and it just makes it fair so I can talk about each film. But anyway, I'll get straight onto it, starting with what I watched on Sunday the 9th of January. And the first film I watched this week, or last week now, is Walk the Line. So I love biopics, and especially when they are music biopics, and I had heard before going into this is considered by many as one of the best of its kind, and it had been on my watch list for years, just because I was really interested in it. I like the cast, I just like the fact I'm interested in Johnny Cash, so I finally decided. I had the Blu-ray, I bought the Blu-ray at the start of the month, so I finally decided to sit down and check it out, and I was not disappointed. This is an absolutely brilliant film. As I say, it's about Johnny Cash, who I believe is played perfectly by Joaquin Phoenix, and it's basically about his rise to fame in the 50s and the 60s, and I just absolutely loved everything about the film. It is truly an incredible true story, and he did have a hell of a life. Rocky life. He struggled with drug addiction in the 60s, and it's just, as I say, it's an incredible story, and generally speaking, films of this length would bore me, because I have seen a lot of films that are this length and the similar sort of dealing with similar sort of topics, and they do bore me. But there was something about this, I just couldn't take my eyes off the screen the whole time I was watching it. I just think it's truly a fantastic film, and will now be considered one of my favourite films, and probably my favourite music biopic. So that is Walk the Line, which I gave 5 stars out of 5. Next up, on the 11th, so last Monday night, I went to the cinema and watched The Kingsman. Now, I wasn't particularly excited to go and watch this, as the previous trailers that I had seen for it didn't do anything for me, didn't think they looked particularly good, and then on top of that, I hadn't heard the best of reviews. I heard it's just okay, but then I heard some people saying it is actually pretty good, so I thought, I might as well go and check it out. And the whole idea that it was a Kingsman prequel set during World War One didn't really interest me at all, but I was really surprised when I watched it, and I actually really enjoyed it. So I will say this isn't as good as the main Kingsman films, but yet again it is very different from them. This is much more of a war film with spy elements in it, and I believe that this is one of the reasons that made it good. I thought Ralph Fiennes was fantastic, as was Rhys Ifans' Rasputin. The action choreography in this was absolutely superb, and I just really liked what they did with the story and where all the characters ended up at the end. And I would love to see a sequel to this prequel. Sounds weird. Just to see where it goes next, because they kind of did set it up for one, and I just want to see how each of these characters' stories progress through another film. So I really enjoyed The Kingsman, as I say, a lot more than I thought I would, so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I know it's high praise. If you're asking me to rank the other ones, I do need to rewatch them, but as of where it stands now, I'd give the first one probably 5 out of 5, because I think that is a pretty much flawless action spy thriller. And then I'd give this Golden Circle 4.5. I really like that, probably a lot more than most. It's not as good, it's not up there as good, just quite not as good as the first one, but I still really enjoyed it. But anyway, The Kingsman I gave 4 out of 5. Next up, I fancied watching something a bit light, not too long, and I decided to watch a rom-com called Going the Distance. This stars Justin Long and Drew Barrymore. And I'll say, to start this off, I've not got too much to say about this, because as far as rom-coms go, this was just fine. It didn't offer anything new, the plot was pretty generic, but it did offer some laughs and they were effective. However, I had previously watched the trailer for this, and most of the laughs were in the trailer, which I think a lot of comedy films struggle with nowadays. But it did also have pretty decent performances from the cast, nothing outstanding, nothing memorable. If you want to watch something that you can just sit down and enjoy for what it is, then it could be the film for you. It wasn't a bad film, it was good, I had fun with it for what it was. As I say, it wasn't too long, which is good. But it is a pretty average film, and it wasn't bad, but again, it wasn't great and it wasn't as good as it could have been. So I gave Going the Distance 3 stars out of 5. Next up, I went to the cinema again, and this time I went to see The 355. And I'll say I definitely enjoyed this more than most people have, like seeing the reviews, and I was actually pretty surprised because I didn't think the trailers were particularly good, much like The Kingsman, but it was actually quite a fun action film, and I thought it was entertaining, and it didn't really require much thought. Is this going to be in my top 10 at the end of the year? No, but it was still, I feel, an underrated film, and it had great action sequences, as well as it was shot in beautiful locations. The plot wasn't great, I say that is the main weakness of this film, but going into this I knew that that would be the case, and I just soaked up as much of the acting from the stellar cast as possible, because they are all great in this film, I feel. It's by no means a very memorable film, but I would definitely watch it again for the entertainment factor alone, because I did have a good time with it, and it was pretty good, I thought. So I gave the 355 3.5 stars out of 5. I think this is 2 more? Yeah, 2 more. Next up, I watched Siriana, and I know this is supposed to be a great film with great performances. George Clooney won an Oscar for it. You've also got Matt Damon, Jeffrey Wright, amongst many other talented cast, but I just didn't like it. I can appreciate the elements of what this film is trying to do and the story, but for me it was just too confusing, and the majority of the time I didn't really know what was going on, because it was going too fast, the plot, and it was just a bit confusing. It was all about oil companies from what I gathered, but that's the gist. I don't know much else what was going on. It's definitely what I would call a thinker, and I might say maybe if I had full concentration on the film for the entire runtime, I may have understood it more. I thought the performances were good, but they weren't anything special. I don't think that they were particularly awards worthy. That's just my opinion though, and for me the film was just a bore. I will give it another go and rewatch it in years to come, not anytime soon, just to see if my thoughts have changed on it. But as of right now, I would say I was not impressed, and I gave Siriana 2.5 stars out of 5. And then the final film, which I watched on Saturday, was The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and this was one that had been on my list for some time, and it's a film that I've only heard, or had only heard, positive things about, and I'm very glad that I watched this finally. because it was such a good film, and it is probably, as of now, my favourite David Fincher film. If not, it is definitely in my top 3. Brad Pitt puts in an excellent performance as Benjamin Button, and just watching his character grow backwards over the course of many years, whilst those around him start to die, it was just heartbreaking. But it was just a great story, a really compelling story, really interesting. I thought the cinematography was beautiful, and all in all, I just thought it was a great film and one that I can highly recommend. And I gave Benjamin Button 5 out of 5 stars. And that is it. So that is everything that I watched in the last week. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you've seen any of those films that I've just mentioned and what your thoughts of them are. What have you watched over the last week? Let me know down below. Like the video if you did enjoy it. If for some reason you didn't like the video, then by all means give it a dislike. But if you do choose to dislike it, I'd appreciate it if you let me know why down in the comment section below. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and turn your notification bell on so you know when I have a new video uploaded onto the channel. I try and upload twice a week now, but it all depends on the content. There probably won't be another video for a week now, just because I've not got anything that I'm in the midst of making at the moment. So it'll probably be, the next video you'll see will be a review video next Tuesday. But you never know, I might have something that I decide to do over the next week. Just have to wait and see. Comment down below. As always, I'll get back to anyone that gives a comment, because I really do appreciate it. People taking the time to watch my videos. So I'll get back to everyone. And that is it. So until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye.